Hey guys, I've got some reptile notes here for you. I have to admit this is one of my favorite sections, but I'm probably a little bit biased here. So hopefully it's not as scary as fish, Justin, but hopefully it's interesting. So a little bit first before we get going. Last time we talked about, or with fish, I think, we talked about the oviparous, oviviparous, things like that. Kind of what we're going to hit on here a little bit is characteristics of eggs. So characteristics of amniotes. You've heard of like amniotic fluid in the placenta, like before a mammal gives birth. Amniotes, let's see here, they lay an egg protected by a shell. This allows for, change to the pen, retention of water. It's permeable, so gases get in and out, carbon dioxide and oxygen. Provides nutrients, so like the yolk here provides nutrients. And the type of shell, it changes for different animals. So fish have like a jelly-like shell. It's laid in the water. They don't have to worry about it drying out. Chickens or birds lay a hard-shelled egg because the chicken sits on it and needs to keep it warm to hatch it. Mammals, they don't lay eggs. Reptiles, their shells are kind of a leathery type texture. Okay, so they lay the egg protected by a shell. Mammals are kind of the exception here. They don't lay eggs, but they have some of these same characteristics, but it's a little bit different. So here, the shell. There's other parts here. And you can think of this too, like when you eat an egg for breakfast. The egg you eat for breakfast is not fertilized, okay? So the egg you eat for breakfast does not have the embryo in it, but you can see like the albumin, the white stuff. You can see the yolk, the yellow stuff. You can obviously see the shell. Okay, but once again, the egg you eat for breakfast is not a fertilized egg. You are not eating a baby chick for breakfast. And then, so going into characteristics of reptiles here, they have these leathery shelled eggs. They are laid on land, all right? So even if an animal like a crocodile, an alligator, spends a lot of time in the water, a sea turtle, they still come up to land to lay their eggs, all right? So, we have our sea turtle here coming up laying its eggs. This would be what like a breeder of leopard geckos or bearded dragons type of thing would have. And you can see how they have that leathery shell, how part of it is kind of indented. That's not because it's broken, that's just because the shell is more flexible. All right, most of them have internal fertilization. So most reptiles have to mate in order for the eggs to be fertilized. And that makes sense because if the shell is kind of a leathery shell, they couldn't lay an unfertilized egg and the male couldn't come and spread the sperm over it because it wouldn't be able to get through the shell to fertilize the egg. So some of them, so going back to that, the ovoviviparous, where the eggs hatch inside the mother. Some are viviparous, where the young are born alive, but generally they are internal fertilization. The armadillo lizards that were in my classroom, remember the taller tank where the front door opened? Those actually, they give live birth. So I actually bought those lizards, and I found out they were female, but a week or two after I bought them, they actually gave birth, and I had 5 baby lizards, extra baby lizards in the classroom. So that was a really good deal. I bought 2 lizards, and I ended up getting 7 total. But it was crazy. They didn't lay eggs. They gave birth to these teeny tiny little armadillo lizards. They looked just like the grown-ups, but they were super tiny. They were super cute. So we have some eggs here hatching, a chameleon and it looks like a tortoise. But they have to hatch out through that eggshell. They are ectothermic. And they only need about 10% of the nutrients. So reptile pets are really nice in that they don't eat as much. I can feed my lizards, some of them once a week, some of them maybe 2 or 3 times a week. But like if we were back in session, I could have left my lizards in the room, over spring break, and they would have been fine. Okay, I leave my animals in the room over Christmas break, and they're fine. They're fine for those 2 weeks. So reptile pets are really nice that way. They're really lazy. They don't have nearly as high a metabolism because they don't need as much of those nutrients. Some ruminate. So it's kind of like hibernating, except instead of like totally shutting off, they just have limited activity for those few months or those few weeks. Tortoises do this. I had a friend who had a pet tortoise, and they would actually take the tortoise when it started to get wintertime, and they'd put it in a box in the garage. and then they'd wait until they herd it in the spring, and they'd take it back out of the garage and then let it go back in their yard. So that would be kind of a little bit more hibernating, but I can tell my bearded dragons bruminate. They'll go a few weeks without moving or a few weeks without eating because they're not doing anything. In the winter, reptile pets are a little bit more boring. All right, their heart has 3 chambers. Exception here, crocodiles have 4 chambers, but generally 3-chambered heart. So remember, fish have 2, amphibians have 3, reptiles have 3. They breathe with lungs, all right? They're not gilled reptiles. They do not have the larva stage like a pollywog where they breathe with gills underwater. All right, they breathe with lungs. They have scaly skin. They don't have that smooth, slimy skin that amphibians do. And once again, I mentioned a few times, no metamorphosis. A baby lizard or baby reptile looks just like the adult. It's just a lot smaller. When those lizards gave birth in my classroom, they gave birth to just miniature adults. All right, there is no metamorphosis. All right, some different kinds. The testudines, those are turtles or tortoises. Turtles and tortoises are different from each other. Turtles generally live in the water. Tortoises can't swim. All right, turtles, they can be omnivores. They can catch fish because they're swimming. You know, sometimes they would eat bugs or worms. Tortoises are generally herbivores. They're not fast enough to catch anything that's meat. They have a carapace, the shell, and if you look here, it's part of their skeleton. So people often ask me, like, well, what would happen if your tortoise came out of its shell? Well, it can't come out of its shell. Okay, be like, well, what would happen if you took the spine out of a mammal? Well, you can't. Okay, it would die. It would kill it. So the shell is part of their skeleton. It grows with them. It is, I don't know if you would consider it an organ, but it's part of their body, a living part of their body. So turtles generally live in water. Omnivores, they can go pretty quick. They can swim. Tortoises, much slower, don't live in water. Generally herbivores. I think, too, tortoises make better pets. Turtles, they swim in the water. They can bite, and really all they do is just make their water dirty, and you just have to constantly clean it. But that's just my own bias. All right, crocodilia. Alligators, crocodiles, gavials, caimans. Gavials and caimans, they look like alligators and crocodiles here. They're just a little bit different. They have nostrils on top of their head. That's what lets them be in the water with just kind of their nose sticking out so that they can breathe. And they actually do display a degree of parental care. They bring food back to the offspring. They teach the offspring how to do things. They protect the offspring or protect the nest. So we're getting into more complex animals here that do have parental care for the young. All right, squamata. Lizards, geckos, iguanas, chameleons, Gila monsters. Lizards, there's a whole ton of types of lizards. Snakes, an amphisbaenia, legless burrowers, worm lizards. Sometimes I believe they're the legless lizards, which sounds silly. Like a legless lizard, isn't that a snake? But no, it is an actual type of animal. It's a legless lizard. It's a lizard. It doesn't have legs. If you look at it closely, it also doesn't quite look like a snake. Snakes, some are venomous, but this group is kind of, I feel like, the catch-all. It's like, okay, this stuff didn't fit in another group. You know, it's not a tortoise or a turtle. It's not a crocodile or an alligator, so we're just going to kind of lump it all into this group. Some kind of cool adaptations they have. First of all, I mean, I obviously think they're super cute. I mean, look, these baby chameleons, how could you not think they're adorable? And baby beardies, oh my word. Oh, I just cannot even. But some of them can lose their tails and regenerate. Not all of them, but like leopard geckos, they can lose their tail. You know, the lizards that you see outside, the alligator lizards, I think, they drop their tail to get away, and then they can regenerate that tail. Most of them are carnivorous. Remember, even eating crickets or mealworms, that counts as eating meat. Some can be poisonous. They rely on vision. All right, I learned too, leopard geckos, they have their eyes I'm kind of trying to draw it here that are more of a slit. So I don't think they can see colors as well. Whereas bearded dragons, they have their eyes more almost like human eyes with the pupil, and they can see colors. Now, I'm not totally sure how you test that, but it's interesting how they have different types of vision, but they also have really good vision, and they rely on this vision. Snakes have pit organs, so they do have ways to sense things, or they stick out their tongues, and they can kind of taste the air with their tongues. So they have some pretty cool adaptations, some pretty cool ways to do things. Since they can be in the desert, they just excrete the uric acid. They don't necessarily pee. Okay, so first of all, they don't necessarily have the two openings, like to pee and to poop. Sorry, this is kind of getting kind of weird here, but I think it's a really awesome adaptation. It also allows them to conserve water. Okay, if it's a desert animal, and if it's using all its energy to get water in the first place, it doesn't want to just pee and lose all that water. So its body is super efficient. It absorbs the liquid back, and I don't know, when it goes to the bathroom, there's kind of this white stuff in it. That's the uric acid that it's been saving, I guess, as it takes all the liquid back out. So my lizards that live in tanks, sorry to get gross, but their poop's a little bit more watery because they have access to water. They get fed more, whereas a more desert animal isn't going to have nearly as much water or liquid when it goes to the bathroom. All right, it's conserving it. So it's really, really super efficient. But yeah, they've got some really cool adaptations. Like I said, I'm a little biased. I think they make really cool pets. But they can do some neat stuff. Man, I wish that I was back in the classroom and can show you these things or demonstrate these things. But hopefully we'll watch a video or something. You can see some of the things that they can do. We'll do a lab with different types of eggs, looking at how they compare. But here are the reptile notes, so enjoy. Hope things are going well. Let me know if you have questions. So I'm not going to ask these questions.